All right.
Welcome back to the Community Collective podcast. It is 2025.
Oh my goodness. I feel like we haven't seen each other in forever for this.
I know we've had some board meetings and we've had some community events that we've crossed paths, but it feels good to be back in the studio.
It feels like a natural thing coming back again.
I know. Well, and we talked about it at the end of last year. Well, first let's make introductions. I am Johnny B. Good, the flip-flop agent, joined by my man,
Travis Howe, the new Davison Township treasurer.
Let's go. Let's go.
It's kind of weird saying that. I'm so used to the chamber thing. So it is.
It's a process.
It is a process. It is.
It's a process. Well, we discussed at the end of last year, 2024, the last episode we did right around the middle of December. You know, we did a recap, talked about some of our episodes, and then we really looked towards the future. And so you and I have continued to discuss it. We've set up a social media page.
We did.
Which is fantastic, where we'll be able to post our videos. We'll probably do some shorts. Not everybody consumes long form content.
They don't.
Right?
No, I agree.
You know, I love my podcasts. I love listening to audiobooks. So for me, I don't necessarily have those issues. But my wife, as an example, she'll sit there and watch a 60-second short, but she's absolutely not going to listen to us ramble for 30 or 40
I will say, I think Deanna has done it once or twice, but it was more of I think she enjoyed it, but I think she's honest. She usually goes, "Okay, I talked to you at home. I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't have to listen to you. Just talk to Johnny."
Jessica does the same thing. She's like, "I listen to your madness 24/7." She's like, "I don't need to listen to it recorded and broadcasted for everybody else."
Now, here's the challenge: is someday we could get them both in here with us.
Oh, that'd be great.
And kind of see how this banter goes back. I think if it's video recording, a lot of eye rolling possibly.
Yeah.
Or
I have another podcast I record with a buddy, and he likes to eye roll or shrug his shoulders. And I'm like, you have to listen. This is a podcast. You don't get to emote physically because that does us no good.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. So we're excited. You know, you and I, we're going to take this first kind of kickoff episode, talk about things that we have going on, guests that we're going to have on in the future. But everything we're going to do, we're also going to have video.
We are.
Man.
And this means we have to look presentable every time.
I know,
right?
I'm like, I got to shower today. I got to actually do my hair and look like an adult. I think I even trimmed up the beard a little bit just so that I could look good for you.
I thought it was looking good today.
Thank you. So, you know, we're into 2025. We're slimming down. We were at 4 episodes a month, and that was busy for both of us.
It was.
It was busy, and my business is picking up. I'm in real estate, so we're preparing for the spring market, still working with a lot of clients. So I'm like, Travis, I don't know if we're going to have 4 episodes a week or 4 episodes a month we're going to be able to do.
It is, and I'm still learning all the things I need to learn for my job.
Yep.
Then we add in chamber, and the chamber's growing nonstop, and new things planned for this year, I think. So it does. Well, I think our new plan, I think it also really helps us. We'll be focusing more on specific topics and can cover a wider range, wider area of items, which I think I'm excited about that.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the ability to bring people here into the studio and be able to have these long form conversations with them. You know, I was talking with Rachel from Deezer.
Oh, yes.
She wants to get on the podcast.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
We would love to have her with all the programs. We've been fans of Deezer for years now with all of our kids going through all the different sports.
Same here.
But I'm like, you know, we were doing it on Zoom, but it was very methodical. You would ask a question, or we would ask a question, then you would answer, and then we just go to the next question. Whereas when you come into the studio, it's like, oh, this is a lot of fun because there's a little bit more banter.
You can see the facial expressions. You can really, I think from when we were doing a few of them, like with video at the end of last year, I really enjoyed it because you can see the animation of someone talking and engaging with us. And it really does.
It's so much more engaging.
It really is. And I think it makes it hopefully more enjoyable for our listeners.
Yeah.
Too. Because they see that.
Absolutely. You know, and we understand that this isn't a podcast that's going to go out to tens of millions of people.
No,
it's very hyper localized, you know, but I have some contacts over in Lapeer that I've made that I'm going to be bringing them on the podcast as well, you know, and of course, for those of you that have asked, because Travis and I have both received the messages, we will be doing the Community Collective After Dark.
Oh yes,
as well. We're going to go back and we're going to review some of those amazing posts that we always see on our local community pages. Since we did our last one, there's now an uncensored Davison Residents Uncensored or something along those lines.
And I think more communities have started those. I will say
sometimes good, sometimes
yes,
bad.
exactly. I'm a huge people watcher, so like when I go out in public or if I go on vacation, I love to just watch people.
Sure.
So that so it's almost if like social media is that way, but I can just do it from my home.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's very interesting
it's very
just to
entertaining.
see what people are passionate about. And
yeah, you want to talk about eye rolls?
Oh,
that I offer those pages a lot of eye rolls in my evening perusing of social media.
Yes, at least that way it's private. You know, you're not actually having to go to the place for that.
I don't feel like being a keyboard warrior is really in my repertoire.
It's not in mine. So
yes. Well, you know, we've gosh, we're into 2025. There's a lot of really great things happening in and around the community.
Oh, there is.
Right. So what are some of the things that maybe you're aware of that are coming into that we can look into for 2025? What's happening? What's going on in our community locally?
Right. You know, actually, I was really excited, and I always enjoy this one with my family. It showed up this morning. The Davidson Richfield Women's Fire Department Auxiliary host a pancake breakfast. It's not till March. Nice. But like it's a nice way. It's a good way to get in the fire station.
Yeah.
To interact with the families and the firefighters. And you know, as when my kids were younger and we did it, then they could go and like look at the fire trucks.
Sure.
Look at the actual equipment. And then but plus it was a nice way, no dishes.
Right.
It's breakfast.
No dishes. Now we're talking. Yes. Now we're talking.
Breakfast for dinner. So I think that was an exciting one. I saw that. I know we've always gone to every time they've had it.
Sure.
And I mean, that's not till March, but it popped up this morning. And well, like, there's a new one.
That's a great one.
Yes.
Another one that's coming up in March is our Davison Area Chamber of Commerce Quarter Mania.
Oh, if you have not gone to this,
oh my gosh,
you haven't experienced kind of the excitement and randomness of what goes on.
Well, and I'm excited. This year, I've been formally invited to MC the event, to actually call out the bingo balls and keep people engaged. And so I'll get my Red Bull ready and, you know, I'll have all the things. So I'll be high energy that night, which I don't usually need any help with. But, you know, it's good. It's a 2-hour event, 2 hour plus. We're going to have dinner. We're going to have all sorts of items to auction off. We're going to have Cottage Inn is sponsoring or providing the food.
Yes.
So I think we're having lasagna and salad and breadsticks.
Good, warm, hearty food for in March when it's still kind of cool outside.
Absolutely. But, we got a carb load for the spring.
We got a carb load for you. Actually, you know, I know you're not a big eater all the time, but carb load beforehand is 2 hours.
Yeah, I absolutely won't do that. I'll eat before
engagement. Yes, no, it is. And I will say, like when I started with the chamber, I had heard of Quarter Mania, but I had no clue what it was.
Sure.
And it's, I guess the way I always try to explain to people, it's an auction, bingo, just kind of randomness sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit of debauchery. You know, one of the things that we should highlight this year is in past years, we've been over at the Davison Country Club. They were great hosts.
They were.
We kind of outgrew the space a little bit, believe it or not.
Which is
you know, we've
amazing.
gone from a couple of different venues now. So now we're actually going to be at the St. John Event Center. And we're going to have 250, almost 300 people there. And it's going to be amazing. And here's the other thing. For those of you that like to get out and kind of cut loose, it's BYOB.
Yes. So you can be comfortable. You bring what you want to enjoy.
Right.
But I think also, too, I think the exciting part is when you get there, first of all, bring lots and lots of quarters. Mm-hmm. That's how you're going to bid on your auction items.
That's right. We'll have some for you. But if you have some at home, bring those ones.
Yes, exactly. Well, and two, when you get there, and there's community donations from businesses and organizations of what we're bidding on. And sometimes when you show up, I mean, you are kind of I'm always amazed just to see the wide variety.
Yeah.
It could be everything from some type of food or dessert to, I think dental hygiene. I think when you're,
we get those whitening kits from AE Dental.
Yes.
I didn't win any last year, but I'm coming back.
You're coming back
this
year. What else is there? Oh my goodness. It's like homemade things. There's, posters like based in Davison.
There's just
it's so many things. I think last year we normally average, I think, between 80 and 90 auction items. And then we're also lucky because Miss Davison ladies come and help out, and they're not only volunteering their time, but they're also help us because they're young, energetic. They can walk around and help us let people see kind of what items are out there and talk to them. And I think that's the great thing about the chamber is it's all encompassing. I mean, Quarter Mania is one of those ones where I think we have a lot of people that are chamber members, but then we have a good portion that come that aren't. And
Right.
maybe
Or they're just regular, everyday community citizens.
yes, exactly. They
Community
want to come
residents.
in. And
Yep.
we have people that have done that before where they just show up and we do have some extra seats and like, come on in.
Yeah.
Come let's have some fun.
It is. And it is so much fun. And even if you didn't want to bid on any items and just come and enjoy the chaos
Yes.
of sorts, it is such a great time. I highly recommend joining. So if you want tickets or you want to reserve a table for Quartermania, get with Travis, get with myself. We will absolutely get that locked
Oh, we
down
would love
for
to.
you.
We
Yep.
also, I think the chamber has it on the website. I think on Facebook as well. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to find out about it and just ask questions.
Right.
You really have an experience. I think the Davison community unless you've gone to Quartermania.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a great way to interact with other businesses, other community members and all those things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, none of that's ever a bad thing.
It's not.
So, you know, we talk about these couple of events and things going on in the community. You know, have you heard any feedback from listeners?
Yes. You know,
So what kind of feedback have you received?
oh goodness. I think the best one is sometimes when we talk about for one, we've done talk about after dark is when there's animals that kind of show up.
Right.
We're not talking about your dogs and your
Right.
cats. We're talking about livestock, cows,
Oh, absolutely.
pigs. And some people have like started texting us,
Right.
hey, here's one that's over this way or
Right.
that way, like this to talk about. And I think other things are people that maybe have listened for the first time in a different community. And this is what I like is when I go to a Grand Blanc or a Burton, you know, I and sometimes they'll hear people are like, oh, I heard that one episode, or I was really fascinated by that one, or sometimes when it's new information. I think that's what I like is that when you bump into someone like, oh, I listened to that episode.
Right. Well, and I think one of the most important things is that you've done a great job because you're my quote unquote scheduler. You know, you probably get the lion's share of our guests to come in, which is great, and coordinate all of that. But I think we've been able to tap into a particular and certain market where there's so many different varied guests that we've had over the years that everybody can kind of resonate with somebody.
There's someone out there.
It's not like we're just talking to business owners or we're just talking to politicians or we're just talking to so-and-so. You know, we have such a great and eclectic mix of people we brought on the pod. And it's been so engaging to hear how people have resonated with that. Like they could care less about so-and-so from that business, but then that one episode hits and they're like, that was amazing. We'd love to hear that.
Well, and I find too that a lot of the people we talk to, whether it's a business or an individual, they have their group of friends or family that they share it with.
Sure.
So not only does that help us grow our listening audience, but it's kind of exciting because I think they had an opportunity to do something they've never done.
Sure.
That's just like you and I had never been on a podcast before we kind of
started this one
and had some fun with it. But I like seeing that where they get excited, or we've had people reach out and like, hey, can I come on your podcast? And they're like, we would love to have you.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what makes it kind of rewarding and enjoyable on our part is when you start seeing them sharing it, when you see them get excited about someone that makes a comment and they know them on their episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and I think, you know, one thing that I've noticed is sometimes I'll go back and I get so thoroughly embarrassed, but I listen to like some of our really early episodes.
Yes.
You know, we got started. It's a process, right? We're learning. We did almost 80 episodes with largely just audio, you know, and now as we're heading towards our 100th episode, you know, we've added video in. And I think for us, you know, it just shows our evolution as podcasters as well. You know, we aren't anybody special. I'm a real estate agent. You know, you're in local politics. Before that, you were the executive director for the chamber. It's amazing to see what we can do when you can see that we're really passionate about it.
Well,
you
and
know,
I
that's
think,
what I enjoy.
Well, and I think too when we reviewed the end of last year, we had some listeners in other countries,
right?
And that kind of got mixed. I went home to told Deanna, I was like, Deanna, there's people listening to us in a couple other countries,
right?
And
which is crazy.
I know. First, she goes, "Why?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't really care. I'm just excited they're interested in our topic."
Spoken like a true wife. Why?
It is why.
Yeah,
I know. She was kind of interested a little bit, but after a while, she goes, "I've listened to you."
Right.
I know, but I think that's the exciting part is something that we've become good friends, especially through the chamber, and then doing this, we've really become, I think, a good partnership.
Yeah,
and feed off each other, and we have, I think, different backgrounds, but different ideas that we bring to it.
For sure.
And I think that's what I think the nice part is with our guests that we have coming in.
Right.
Is they're bringing that uniqueness to something we're kind of trying to organize and share information with people.
Yeah, absolutely. So knowing that you've now moved into your position as the treasurer for Davison Township, are you getting comfortable, getting into a routine a little bit? You still learning a lot? I'm sure you
Oh,
are. It's
it's
you're going to be learning all the time. But I mean, give us a little insight into how that's going
Oh
for
goodness,
you.
it's going really good. I'll be honest. Before I came into office, I took some time and I talked to some other treasurers that had been in office for a little bit longer, just to
Sure.
kind of almost like when I came into the chamber. I talked to
Mhm.
other chamber directors.
Yep.
But the nice thing is, when I started, I have two team members that have lots of experience.
Yep.
That I knew that they could help me out and understand it. It's almost in a way of I said, "Hey, just start teaching me,
Right.
and like watch over me and ask me to try something new,
Sure.
that way I can learn." And I think that part's good. And then you start talking to them and include them in decisions and be part of the team. Like, how can we grow the treasury department to really benefit the residents? And I think that's something that's new to learn.
Right.
And then just, I think constantly there's new things to learn about our township. I feel like I'm always reading. And
Yep.
I'll be honest, I'm not the quickest reader.
Sure.
you know, but I think that's the thing for me is, and then the public engagement. You'll get individuals that are stopping by or calling. Like, we do have a drive-through, which is nice.
Right.
But people will just come in. They either have questions, or I mean, they're paying their water and sewer bill or their property taxes, and it's nice because they're very respectful. You always have a few individuals that really have a lot of questions about certain parts of it.
Sure.
But you know what though? That part has been good for me because like I can just say like, I don't know, but let me go find out. Or one of my team members will say, "Oh, I understand that. Let me explain it." And so I think something came up the other day that we weren't sure about. And so we told an individual like, "Hey, we don't know. We'll find out. Let us research it. Give us your phone number. We'll give you a call back here in 10 or 15 minutes once we know."
Perfect.
It really is. And I think that's a learning process too. I had a background. I worked in Lansing for a little while in constituent services. So I get that benefit. And I think that's really what our township is. And I think the nice thing is a well-balanced team throughout the township hall. If someone is, say we're busy in the treasury department, someone else from a different part will pop over and kind of help us talk to people and get them moving. And that way residents don't have to stay in there for very long. So, but it's nonstop learning.
Yeah.
I'll come home and spend time with the family. Then I'll do a little bit of reading and stuff like that. So it is, it's very, and I signed up for my first conference later on. There's a Michigan Municipal Treasurers Association. As exciting as that sounds,
riveting.
I know, but for me, it's something. My hope is it's interaction with a larger group of treasurers from across the state,
of course,
and find ones that are our size. So I'm kind of excited about it. I kind of see the guidelines I'm going to learn,
and as being the treasurer for Davis Township, we want you to be excited. I'm not going to get excited for you. I'm going to hope that you have a great time. And I love that for you.
I will say, I could not be a realtor. I see what you guys go through. And even though I've noticed a few of your conferences are a little bit warmer weather atmospheres.
And we do have a propensity to travel to a little bit nicer locales.
I will say that part. I am jealous a little bit, but I guess it's you choose your industry.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. So, hey, my wife's in banking and I love her to death, but I listen to her on certain phone calls and I'm like, your job is so boring.
I am very appreciative of people that do that because it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, just like being a treasurer isn't for me and being a real estate agent isn't for you. And I respect that.
I would probably walk up to them like, here's a house.
Yeah.
I hope you like this.
We understand to stay in our own lanes, right?
It is. But I've learned a lot about real estate from interacting with you and your team here at Remax.
Yep.
And I think that's nice, especially when I come in or you be honest, when you start seeing signs pop up, like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's the fun part. And I would say in my role, it's getting a chance to, be in the community. And when people bump into you, they will have concerns or ideas of something they notice. Yep. And we have a team at the township that's great with resources and figuring out what works best or where they need to go.
Of course.
And that's where anytime I've had a question, someone's always been willing to help answer at the township hall for me, just to help me out, which I appreciate very much.
Mm-hmm. No, of course, and I give a lot of credit to our municipal leaders, and that's to kind of forecast future episodes. We're going to have our new mayor for the city of Daviston on as
Yes.
well.
Oh, Stacy's gonna be great. She's already
Yeah.
involved everywhere, but I think that's one of the guests. I'm really excited because
Yep.
we know her as a friend, but now she has this new role, and it'll
Yeah,
be interesting. I think just to hear her vision and passion for the city of
for sure.
Davison,
For sure.
and I mean she's involved everywhere else too.
Right.
So which
Right.
is
I
nice.
mean, Mayor Bishop, that was big shoes to fill coming in because I think he was in there for what, 12 years?
I think so.
12 years.
Yes.
So I mean, it's a whole new regime, as they say, which is exciting.
Which
And
is
I'm
good.
excited for her because as much as, Tim did a great job, I think, with the city, fresh eyes, fresh ideas are never a bad thing.
No, and I think we saw that in the chamber. I
Absolutely,
think
yeah.
you have directors that come in that are really help do a focus and have a passion for certain areas.
Yep.
And then the next one comes in and it changes a little bit, which is
Right.
keeps building on the history of it.
Absolutely.
And that's what I mean. To be honest, that's what my hope was, that as a team we got the chamber in a great place, and then our new director, Jessica Brown,
Yep.
has an amazing vision, but she's bringing new perspectives and has new organization skills that I didn't have.
Sure.
And I think that's gonna benefit not only the chamber, but anyone we interact with, and investment in the community through her mission and ideas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so then is it next week? Why don't you talk about our next guest that we're going to have on next week as well?
Yes. So I think everybody is well aware of the Firebirds.
Yeah, the Flint Firebirds.
Flint Firebirds, yes.
Yep,
So
the OHL hockey team.
And first of all, I will say I grew up in the South.
Right.
We had some high schools that had hockey teams.
Sure.
But the passion for hockey was such a new thing for me to figure out when I came up here.
Sure.
And I think Flint has had professional hockey for such a long history.
Yep.
And it maybe has changed names, but the Firebirds, I think for the past, I don't know how long they've been around, I see passion everywhere with it.
Sure.
And they're involved in the community. And so we have Dominique from the Firebirds coming in, and he's someone that we've interacted with through the chamber.
Yeah.
And they've been involved with some of our events.
So is he like the head of marketing or customer relations? Do you know exactly what his title is?
I had to think about that now. Now you would put me on the spot.
Yeah, of course I would.
I do my research, right? A couple days before we come in.
Sure.
But I will say, I know from when we've talked to him, I know they had different roles. I can't remember if it's marketing or public.
But
interaction.
He's been with the team for a while.
He has,
not?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it's and I think it's fun when I talk to him because he travels with the team sometimes, or there'll be a group of them that will go when they go away. The whole team doesn't. So he's going to come in and just kind of share a little bit of what he does, what the Firebirds are doing in our surrounding area in the community.
Sure.
But I feel like every time I drive past there, it's packed.
Oh yeah.
And involving everybody. I think my son had indoor flag football this past weekend, but I was interacting with one of our chamber members from United Way.
Yeah.
And it was the United Way, I think, night at the Firebirds game that night too.
Right.
So you see, like, they're partnering with local organizations to really show support for them. And I think Dominique's going to come in and kind of share that passion and kind of fill us in on everything Firebirds.
Right. Well, and they do so many great things for, and I grew up going to the IMA.
Oh, yes.
When it was still the IMA, before it was the Door Financial Event Center. And when it was the IMA, I think it was the Flint Spirit that were playing there.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking like, this was back in the late 80s.
Oh, goodness.
Right. And I remember going games, you could still smoke in the stadium or smoke in the arena.
Smoke in the arena, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You could smoke in the arena. And we would go there and, while we were watching hockey, it was largely fist fights. It was like 3 fights every period.
Right.
And everybody's yelling and screaming and hooting and hollering. But I have vivid memories of going there, as like a, 7 or 8 year old. And then the Flint Generals came on the scene.
Oh, yes.
And then after the Generals, it was the Flint Firebirds. And it's been great to see that evolution and where it went from something that was a little bit kitschy and a little bit more performative with what it was in the past to see it now. It's like going to an actual Red Wings game.
It's
It's just a smaller venue,
right?
But it's still so much fun to watch. The action is still cranking. They've got great, the screens are all lit up.
They are.
It's clean. It's well lit. I mean, it's amazing. If you have not been there, I highly recommend checking it out.
And I think the fact too is, like, for I think the national anthem and everything like that, they bring in local choirs.
Yeah.
My dad, previously was director for the Lapeer County Community Choir.
Okay.
They sing the national anthem a couple of times. So they're finding organizations like that. And
Fantastic.
but on a side note, I did go to one professional hockey game in Kentucky when I was a kid. We did have I think it was like the Louisville Thoroughbreds or something like that.
Okay.
I think they played
That's topical.
It kind of fits down in Kentucky, but we didn't know what to expect. I think tickets were extremely inexpensive.
Right.
And a family could go. And I think we played at probably a local ice skating rink, you know, or something where there's some bleachers, but you're still inside. And it was, I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
So then come up here. It is. So I think the Firebirds.
Well, and you hit on a great point is going to a Firebirds game. I sometimes forget about how local it is and the opportunities to go. It's very cost effective. You know, I can go out there and, you know, we have a family of 6, you know, for $100, I can typically get us in and get some snacks for the kids and have a really good night.
You're there for a while.
For a family of 6, it's going to cost me that to go out to eat at a restaurant.
It is, right? I know. Or if you want to go to a professional game like down in Detroit.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's one of those ones where that's a huge budget process to figure out. So I think that I'd rather drive 10 minutes. Yeah. And enjoy something local and actually be honest, see some people I know. Yeah. When I'm there. But I think the Dort holds at least 3,000, if not more people. Yeah. I mean,
I couldn't even venture.
Right, maybe 4.
I'm terrible at guesstimating.
I'm horrible too. I could say 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. But it is. I feel it's
several thousands.
Several thousands. I think that's the better way to do it. But yeah, so I think we're building a list of guests that have people that are interested. They've listened to the podcast, but I think we're trying to find some value for maybe listeners that haven't heard us, or haven't do it. And I think we're bringing those groups in that will, I think, pique interest in our communities.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and this takes me back to the community that we're building on Facebook.
Yes.
You know, so we're going to put some Q&As out there. You know, what do you guys like us to talk about? What do you want? Who do you want to hear from in the community?
Yes.
Or in the larger community? You know, we can go over into Lapeer County. We can be here in Genesee County. We would be happy to have guests on from all walks and, aspects of life.
I would love it if people continue to send us ideas. We've gotten a few from when we talk to people, but yeah, if you see one of our Facebook posts or social media through the podcast, make a comment or send us a message like, hey, I would really like to hear from this person or this organization. And it might take us a little time, but we will work on it to make sure because we need new ideas too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Sometimes we get stuck in our own bubble of people and things that we know about. So we want to continue to expand our creative abilities and look at people from different areas, different industries, things that we're not familiar with. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, it is. And I'm excited about it. I think gives us a chance to learn more about other things that are around here.
Absolutely.
And we might not be honest, I'm not the biggest Firebirds fan, but I'm also still learning about hockey. But I love going to a game.
Just talking about the Firebirds, I didn't realize most of these kids were still in high school.
That's the part right there.
Which I was like, oh, wow. You know, these aren't like 20-year-olds. These are like kids in their teens.
Yeah.
Which I think is amazing.
It's amazing to see it. And then
seeing that skill, I'm like, whew.
I did not have that ever. I mean, I played soccer.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was good at it. Right. But I'm not at this level.
No.
Good, right.
And just imagine being 16, 17, 18 years old, playing on literally in front of thousands of people on the ice. I mean, doing something you love. That's got to be fantastic. What a great opportunity for these kids.
And I like that there's that rivalry between, I think that was the I-75, rivalry between Saginaw and Flint. And I get excited to see that happening. I think that's showing a great way to get two communities to interact.
Absolutely.
And it's
going to be a very fun and engaging interview, without a doubt.
It is.
So the other thing that we'll end up doing on the Facebook page, and this is why we encourage you guys to join us on the Facebook page, is we're going to be doing some giveaways.
Yes.
So we're going to leverage our interview with some of these guests to make sure they bring us in some giveaways.
It could be swag, tickets. We don't really know, but we want to talk to them, and that way listen, and we'll figure out a way that people have a chance to win something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it just, it allows our community at large to be able to engage with these businesses, these owner operators, these other large corporations, or even just community members.
Right.
But, that's going to be the price of admission for the podcast. And we want to reward our listeners. We want to say thanks to you for sticking with us for these 80 some odd episodes and where we've been and where we're going in the future.
And I think that's the amazing part.
I think so too. And, we're in the upper echelon of podcasters because regardless of numbers or this or that or whatever else, we've got a tremendous amount of episodes.
We do.
A lot of podcasters give up too early in the process. Not me. I'm too stubborn.
Oh, I know. Exactly. I get excited about this.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
I know when we talked, okay, when are we going to do our next one? When is it going to be? And I think now that our schedules are busier, it helps us to really focus by doing the 2 episodes a month.
Right.
I think that would make it easier for us to really fine tune what we want to offer our listeners.
We want the quality to be high.
We do.
Right.
Yes.
We, in spite of, my reputation as being some goofy guy wearing flip-flops in the middle of winter, I take a lot of pride in what we do here, and I want the quality to be high.
Yes.
I don't want this to look like something that was just randomly thrown together, in a last minute thought.
We do. And for anyone who's listening, we do our best to do as much research or talk to people beforehand, and we might not always be right, but we try our best to get good information out there, or at least some entertaining information.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Right. So
yeah,
I think in closing out today's episode, and I know we kind of finished the year off having a conversation, but we're going to start the year off having a conversation, but we're going to get into these guests moving forward, be able to have, more long form content, video interviews where we can have these discussions. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And one thing we got to throw in there too.
Yeah.
You and I are working on organizing through the chamber a men's impact leadership lunch.
Yes.
Into February.
Yep.
I'm excited about this. It's something new. We don't know how it's going to go.
Right.
I just want some people to show up and enjoy it. And we're working to bring in some good speakers and some good food and from local businesses. And but yeah.
And it's not like a hardcore networking event.
No.
Obviously when we all get together, we're going to network, but it's not like an old school. We got to be handing out business cards and everything.
No.
We would just like to get the boys together.
That's right.
Right. We just want to get the boys together, have a little bit of fun, have a conversation, take an hour, your lunch hour out of that specific day. Come on over. Let's engage, listen to a speaker, enjoy some good, delicious food.
So February 26th, it's going to be at the Journey Center.
Perfect.
For lunch. And then, but yet we do ask that you RSVP and get a ticket.
Yeah.
So that's on the Chamber's Facebook page.
There you go.
Yes.
On the Chamber Facebook page. Perfect.
And
so
I think the website as well. Tickets are $10, and that helps us with some cost and getting the speakers there for food and water and everything like that. So yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited about something new.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's something that, we're just trying to get ourselves out there in the community as well. So yes, tell me the title again.
The Men's Impact Leadership Lunch.
Men's Impact Leadership Lunch.
Yes.
MILL.
There.
Mill.
Oh my gosh.
It's the Mill lunch.
There you go. It is. So I think we have a lot of stuff like that going on. So we're going to be interacting. We're going to have more information that we can share about other community events. Or if be honest, if someone knows of a community event we haven't talked about, send it our way. We would love to check it out or talk about it or learn more about it too.
Well, and we all have these quote unquote curated algorithms in all of our social media feeds. So sometimes things do fall, in between the cracks.
They do.
And it's not always easy to get your message out there about a particular event. So if you have something going on, please tell us.
Yeah.
Let us know. We would love to showcase it. We would love to talk about it.
Right.
We would love to just engage with you as far as that goes.
I think that's the fun part.
I think so too. All right. Well, I think that's it for this episode of the Community Collective. What do you think?
Welcome to 2025.
2025. Oh. Man, oh man. I can't believe it. I think we're halfway through the month already.
I think we are.
It's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy. The days are long, but the years are fast. Ain't that the truth?
It is. It's true.
That's true. Well, Travis, we will see you on our next episode of the Community Collective. I appreciate all of you for listening and taking the time out to hang out with us for roughly a half hour or so. So definitely keep an eye on the Facebook page.
Yes.
That's where we're going to do the lion's share of the giveaways, the interaction, the engagement. We're going to post the videos there, and then we will also have a YouTube account.
Yes.
That will get that announced when we release this episode as well. So thank you for listening to the Community Collective podcast. I am Johnny B. Good, joined by
Travis Howe, and it's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. We will see you guys on the next episode. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.